Picture this moment that so many of us know by heart. Your toddler is melting down because UVA just turned off the tablet. The screaming, the tears, the way they seem almost desperate to get back to that glowing screen. And there you are, standing in your kitchen, feeling like you've somehow failed at the most basic part of mothering. Maybe it started innocently enough. A few minutes of educational videos while you made dinner. Then it became the thing that got you through grocery shopping, the doctor's office. Those endless rainy afternoons when you were running on 3 hours of sleep and your patience was threadbare. If you've ever handed over the tablet just to get through the day, just to have 5 minutes of peace, just to stop the constant demands and negotiations, you're not alone. Subscribe, because what I'm about to share isn't about perfect parenting. It's about finding a way forward together. The guilt can be overwhelming, can't it? You watch other parents on social media who seem to have it all figured out, whose children appear to play contentedly with wooden toys, while you dealing with a child who seems genuinely addicted to screens. You start to wonder, did I create this? Is this my fault? Am I failing them in some fundamental way? But here's what I want you to understand right from the beginning. What you seeing in your child is a character flaw, and it isn't your failure as a parent. What you're witnessing is a perfectly normal response to something that hijacks the developing brain in ways we only just beginning to understand. When your child melts down over screen time ending, when they seem unable to engage with anything else, when they ask for the tablet from the moment they wake up until the moment they go to sleep, they're not being manipulative or difficult. They're experiencing something that feels very real to them, a craving, a need, a pull toward, something that gives their brain a very specific kind of stimulation. The modern world has presented us with a challenge that no generation of parents before us has had to face. We're raising children in an environment saturated with screens, and we're doing it while we ourselves are exhausted, overwhelmed, and often isolated. It's no wonder so many of us feel like we're drowning. You see, screens provide what feels like a solution to immediate problems. They stop the whining, they buy us time, they seem to educate and entertain simultaneously. But what many parents are discovering is that over time, instead of solving problems, screens can create new ones. Children become less able to tolerate boredom, less interested in physical play, more prone to emotional outbursts when the screen goes away. This is about shaming screen use or pretending that technology does have a place in our lives. This is about understanding what's happening beneath the surface and learning how to guide our children back toward the kind of engagement that truly nourishes their developing minds and bodies. Maria Montessori spent her life observing children, and what she discovered over a century ago holds profound wisdom for what we're facing today. She noticed that children have an innate drive toward purposeful activity, toward engaging with their environment in ways that build both competence and confidence. When a child becomes dependent on screens, what we really seeing is a child whose natural developmental needs are being met in an artificial way. Screens provide stimulation, yes, but it's stimulation without the satisfaction that comes from real engagement with the world. Think about it this way. Imagine you're hungry and someone gives you artificial sweetener instead of food. It might temporarily satisfy the sensation of sweetness, but it doesn't actually nourish your body. Screens can be like artificial sweetener for the developing mind. They provide the sensation of engagement without the deep satisfaction that comes from meaningful activity. Montessori understood that children need 3 fundamental things that screens cannot provide: movement of their whole body, interaction with real materials that respond to their touch in predictable ways, and the satisfaction that comes from completing meaningful work. So, how do we help a child who has become accustomed to screen-based stimulation rediscover these deeper satisfactions? The answer lies in what I call the Montessori reset, a gentle, systematic approach to reshaping your home environment and daily rhythms. Look around your living space with fresh eyes. What is your child naturally drawn to when they're not on a screen? In many homes, the most accessible, interesting objects are the screens themselves. Everything else is either too high to reach, too fragile to touch, or too boring to sustain attention. The Montessori approach suggests creating what we call a prepared environment, a space where everything your child can reach is something they allowed to use. This doesn't mean child-proofing in the traditional sense. It means thoughtfully arranging your space so that real, meaningful activities are as accessible and appealing as screens once were. In the kitchen, this might mean having a low shelf with child-sized tools, a small pitcher for pouring water, a wooden spoon for stirring, a cloth for wiping surfaces. In the living room, it might mean baskets of activities that rotate weekly: puzzles, art supplies, building materials, books. Many parents worry that these changes require expensive Montessori materials, but that's not true. too. Some of the most engaging activities for young children involve everyday household objects. A basket filled with different textured fabrics, a collection of smooth stones, measuring cups, and dried beans for pouring. These simple materials can captivate a child's attention in ways that expensive toys often cannot. The key is accessibility and rotation. When children have constant access to the same toys, those toys become invisible. But when materials appear and disappear in a thoughtful rhythm, they maintain their power to attract and engage. One of the most challenging aspects of screen dependency is how it disrupts a child's natural rhythms. Screens provide instant gratification and constant stimulation, which can make the slower pace of real-world activities feel unbearably boring. The Montessori reset involves intentionally slowing down your daily rhythms and creating predictable rituals around transitions. This doesn't mean your days need to be rigidly scheduled, but it does mean creating pockets of calm, predictable activity throughout the day. Morning routines become especially important. Instead of beginning the day with a screen, consider creating a series of simple, sequential activities that help your child transition from sleep to wakefulness. This might involve looking out the window and talking about the weather, watering a plant together, or preparing breakfast side by side. The goal isn't to fill every moment with structured activity, but to create enough rhythm and predictability that your child doesn't feel the need to seek stimulation from screens. When children know what comes next, when they have meaningful ways to contribute to family life, when they experience the satisfaction of completing real work, the pull toward screens naturally diminishes. Many families find that creating screen-free time periods, perhaps the first hour after waking and the hour before bed, helps establish these new rhythms without the all-or-nothing pressure of eliminating screens entirely. This is perhaps the most transformative aspect of the Montessori reset. In our culture, we often think of childhood as a time of pure play, but Montessori observed that children are deeply satisfied by contributing to real family life in meaningful ways. This doesn't mean burdening children with adult responsibilities, but it does mean recognizing their genuine desire to be useful, to contribute, to do work that matters. A 3-year-old who helps prepare snacks isn't just playing. They're developing fine motor skill, mathematical concepts, and a sense of competence and belonging. The key is offering activities that are real, purposeful, and appropriately challenging. Setting the table, folding washcloths, feeding pets, watering plants, preparing simple snacks. These activities engage both the mind and body in ways that build genuine competence. Many parents are surprised to discover that their screen-dependent child will spend 20 minutes carefully spreading peanut butter on crackers or sorting socks by color. These activities provide the kind of deep, satisfying engagement that screens promise but cannot deliver. When children spend time engaged in real work, they develop what Montessori called concentration, the ability to focus deeply on meaningful activity. Concentration is like a muscle that grows stronger with use, and it naturally crowds out the craving for artificial stimulation. Perhaps the most important aspect of the Montessori reset is the understanding that this process requires grace. Grace for your child, who is learning to find satisfaction in new ways, and grace for yourself as you navigate this transition. There will be resistance. Your child may reject the wooden blocks in favor of asking for the tablet. They may seem bored or restless during screen-free times. This is normal and temporary. Think of it as a detox process. Your child's brain is literally rewiring itself to find satisfaction in different kinds of stimulation. During this transition period, your presence becomes especially important. Instead of expecting your child to independently engage with new activities right away, plan to spend time together exploring these materials. Show them how the activity works. Do it alongside them and gradually step back as their interest grows. This is UNT about removing something from your child's life and leaving them to figure out alternatives on their own. It's about actively introducing them to forms of engagement that are more satisfying, more nourishing, and more developmentally appropriate than what screens can provide. Remember that progress isn't linear. There will be days when everyone needs the ease of screen time, and that's okay. The goal isn't perfection. It's gradual movement toward a more balanced relationship with technology. The Montessori reset also means resetting your own expectations. In our achievement-oriented culture, we often often measure our parenting success by how much our children accomplish or how perfectly they behave. But Montessori reminds us that childhood is a process of development, not a race toward adult capabilities. When your child spends 15 minutes pouring water from one container to another, are not wasting time. They're developing hand-eye coordination, concentration, and a sense of order. When they help you fold laundry, they're not being inefficient. They're learning sequencing, developing fine motor skills, and experiencing the satisfaction of meaningful contribution. As you begin implementing these changes, it's important to understand that the transition away from screen dependency rarely happens overnight. In fact, you may initially see more challenging behavior, not less. This is completely normal and actually a positive sign that your child's brain is beginning to recalibrate. Many families find that the first week of reducing screen time feels chaotic. Children who were previously content to sit quietly with a tablet may suddenly seem restless, demanding, or unable to focus on anything. This isn't a sign that the approach isn't working. It's a sign that it is working. Think of it this way. If someone had been eating only candy for weeks, and then you offered them an apple, they might initially reject the apple as not sweet enough. But as their taste buds readjust, they begin to appreciate the apple's natural sweetness. The same thing happens with your child's developing brain. As it learns to find satisfaction in real-world activities, what you're likely to notice, usually within 2 to 3 weeks, is a gradual shift. Your child may spend longer periods engaged with physical materials. They may become more interested in helping with household tasks. They may seem more present during conversations, more able to tolerate waiting, more creative in their play. This isn't about removing something from your child's life. It's about giving something back: connection, autonomy, presence, and the deep satisfaction that comes from engaging with the real